right.
Yeah. All right, fucking peace. Welcome back. Secret House Against.
Yeah, what if there was a house that nobody knew about?
Yeah.
It was like opposed to stuff.
Yeah, also keep this very secret. Don't tell anybody about this.
Or do, like, we need those Patreon subs.
Yeah, I was hoping to work some like reverse psychology on these guys, but yeah, it's me and Jet here today. We're getting together to talk about the new Homeboy Sandman mono and stereo collab. The album title is called Rich. It is 11 songs, 26 minutes. In fact, all the albums we're reviewing today are pretty short. This one dropped fairly recently on August 4th. And I was enjoying it so much that I decided to skip the other album we're going to do and try to do this one instead because I quite enjoy it. Homeboy Sandman is a Queens, New York MC artist. Has been dropping projects with hella collaborators since like at least 2007 when he dropped the album Nourishment. It looks like he has about 11 full-length projects, over 15 other EP collabs with the greats like Aesop Rock on the Lice projects, Eden, and also Quelle Chris, who are artists that we've reviewed on the show before. Mono and Stereo is a New York producer artist as well. He's produced for a lot of people, like a considerable amount of great artists. He's produced for Droog, your old Droog. He did Homeboy Sandman's Cool Herc Fertile Crescent album, Action Bronson, Most Def, De La Soul, and hella plenty much more. So yeah, it looks like he also has like 1 million releases on his Bandcamp. So check him out for the production. That's actually him playing in the background right now. Shout out. So what we like to do when we have spoken about artists or we haven't, how do we know mono and stereo? Is this your first time
first
really
time.
recognizing? It is kind of for me too. Like I remember the name, but he was not an artist that I followed closely, and I didn't even have him on my little bullshit Spotify follow feature. But I think they also collaborated before. The album Dusty that's Homeboy Sandman released maybe 4 years, maybe 2019. He did production on that. So, yeah, I'm familiar with him, but I'm not intimately familiar with his music. I'm pretty bad when it comes to giving producers their fair share of like brain space in hip-hop. But we said before, because you and I have reviewed
They're in Spirit.
The Homeboy Sandman project that dropped, last year, 2 years ago?
Last year, I believe, yeah.
Okay, so we know Sandman from, like, back in the day and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly when I got
factual
onto
pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And first of a living breed.
Yeah, it's been over a decade, our fandom. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
So one of the, I wasn't really happy with our review of Homeboy Sandman last time, and not necessarily because we did anything wrong or said anything wrong. I just for that album, I just didn't really enjoy the content that time.
Likewise,
I think at the time, and I haven't gone back to rewatch it, and I've only gone back to like the one Illingsworth beat on that joint that I really loved. I felt kind of like on that project he was a bit more aggy and I don't want to say whiny, but really had some complaints to levy against like internet enemies, people talking about him, discussing his music or his views. It was the height of COVID, so I think everybody was kind of in a space at that time, the world seemingly falling apart. Whether you're on the vaccine side or the anti-vaccine side, things were all bad. And I also felt kind of like his rhymes weren't really up to his usual level of like wit, complexity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I kind of felt the same way about like Don't Feed the Monster, which I thought was a better project, but also it was just kind of preachy maybe and kind of self-helpy for my taste.
Sure.
Not that any of that stuff is bad, but I just started getting to that point that sometimes happens when you're a fan of an artist for a long time where you don't notice any like decline, but you kind of just move away from them. Like I haven't really loved a Ghostface album in a decade at least, maybe probably more than that. And I thought maybe it's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm just not firing on, the same level as Homeboy Sandman anymore. I don't feel the same way about that anymore because this album is great to me. What are your thoughts on the previous, like, about the same? Are we on the kind of same page?
I mean, I haven't really listened to much Homeboy Sandman since like the Stones Throw days. that Stone's Throw era.
Yeah.
He had a nice run of records with them. And that roughly coincided with a period where I was just like really into everything coming out of the West Coast in particular. The whole LA beat scene was happening at the time. Like Brain Feeder was really kind of becoming a thing.
Dame Funk,
Funk, Daddy Kev, Russ, G, rest in peace. Like, so yeah, I was like really, really into it then. I didn't much care for There in Spirit, but yeah, like you, I was pleasantly surprised by this record.
Yeah.
This was a record I got a lot of joy out of, and if we get into it,
let's get right into it.
It feels like the weight has been taken off of his shoulders a little bit. I don't know if that's true. If that's the case, I don't know Homeboy Sandman as a person. I don't know what he's going through. I don't even know his real name, but like
Angel,
yeah, Angel,
I think it's Angel.
He's very. He sounds very free on this record by comparison. If There in Spirit, was somewhat bogged down by the stresses of being a personality or a figure on the internet and having to like deal with the response to your music and your presence online, of which we are a part of that ecosystem to some degree. This record, he sounds like very comfortable at home. I think the rapping is a little more clever, a little more sharp than it has been on some previous releases. And he comes across as very like likable and relatable on this record.
Yeah, yo. I really I think this is like a top 5 Homeboy Sandman album for me, to be honest with you. Now, I think that list is kind of, 2 decades ago heavy, like actual factual, those albums. But man, on this one, he brought me right back into the bandwagon. He's firing on all cylinders here. Incredibly well constructed rhymes with, immaculate, perfect timing, hella flows, cadences, poetic devices. And he's got that kind of, it's filled with the wit, charisma, braggadocio, and insight that usually comes with Homeboy Sandman. And with these beats, I just think that they provide like a super dope palette for him. They're like head nod, groovy shit, classic rock samples, jazzy shit. There's like a b-boy joint on this, and Sandy approaches all of them with like different approaches to the rhyme, like perhaps a little bit difficult to pick up to the undiscerning ear because of his voice is so kind of monotone, but he goes the fuck off on this. And one of the things that I felt about There in Spirit is like I listened to it, and usually with Homeboy Sandman, I'm able to pick out dozens of lines that just sound good or witty or funny the way he presents them. And I didn't get, like, if you remember, I didn't pick out any lines from that shit. There was like maybe 5 max, but this is just great. And I've always thought that Homeboy Sandman, since I first heard him, was an incredible MC first and foremost. His rhymes are just supremely well constructed. The wordplay, assonance, flows, and generally he just has like a very brilliant mind to me. He'll say some shit that I'm just like that sticks for me. Like I forget what album it was, but I always think about it. And it's not even rhyming, but it's just some type of kind of like philosophical, existential part or aspect of his personality that comes through in the music. He said, I was talking to my boy the other day. He said if he gave every time somebody asked, he wouldn't have nothing left for himself, but he ain't never tried that. He's got those type of deep, insightful lines, all the way up to like shit that is just hilarious. Like,
that's like a philosophical problem, right? It's like a trolley problem, but like a little bit more nuanced in the sense of like, if you can provide assistance to someone in need at very little cost to yourself, is it your moral imperative to do that thing? Yeah. Because yes, but also you can't. Because if you like slightly go out of your way for everyone, you'll never do anything for yourself.
Right.
And yeah, I think that like very like clever, relatable Homeboy Sandman really, really shows through on this record.
Yeah. That and more, you know, he's also just kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, another one of my favorite lines is I dedicate Stevie Wonder's My Sharia Moore to Labia Majora. And it's just like, bro, like he's fucking great. And he's a very New York style MC to me. He's not just good at doing like the Imagine opposition rhymes or the braggadocio or even just straight up fun raps, but he's also like really capable of having like a concept and taking a through line and flowing through that through line completely. He's like a creative writing class MC where he's like, you know, there are countless examples of him doing that throughout his entire career. And even on this one, like on Loner, I mean, in the title, you basically get what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And then we broke up, you basically get what he's talking about in the title. And Crazy, and he takes a really dope deep dive off of those tracks on this with lots of, you know, levity, honesty, deep kind of personal surveillance and introspection. And he does that all with bars on bars on bars.
Yes.
And even like the songs that are just a little bit more fun and not as kind of personal, he's fucking dope, man. I probably have like hella bars that I picked up from him on this. I just like the album.
Yeah, I mean, shoot off. Like, I feel like I don't have too much to say about this record because it's not like breaking the mold,
Sure,
per se. I don't think there's anything here that Sandman has never done before or that you don't find on other records, but it's just so well refined. I think this is one of the best versions of the Sandman formula, as it were. And not to say this album is formulaic. Like I don't want to sound like I'm down on this record because I like it a lot. But he's not reinventing the wheel here. He's doing what he does very, very well. Yeah. You know, probably the best he's done it in a long time. I haven't listened to everything he's put out in the last 5 years or so. But certainly compared to There in Spirit, I think there is a somewhat reinvigorated, a little bit more focused, you know, like it's like Sandman like went up the mountain and he's come back and here's the tones that he has with him.
Word. Yeah, of course, you know, I don't follow people on social media and see them tweeting their days or whatever other thoughts that they have outside of their music, but this one's good. I guess I'll just start at describe a couple of these songs, how I feel about them and some things. Like the album opener is called Fine, and it's just like a really nice kind of soulful beat with a beautiful vocal sample and keys. It's a pretty strong opener for about the temperament or the what you're going to get on the album. And like he's just laying out, you know, his New York upbringing and the kind of armor that he developed and the kind of philosophy that it instilled in him. And just like that, you know, he ain't never tried that, giving away all this stuff. He's got bars on there that are just kind of like, that's dope. He says, most of these folks got enough to spare, but most of these folks wasn't taught to share. Boys was all taught how to not be men. We was all taught we should not be friends. Girls was all taught they should not like nerds. Girls was all taught it was all about curves. And, you know, it's not like you walk away like, you know, Homeboy Sandman is one of the deep philosophical poet laureates of our time, but he's always got like really dope, relatable rhymes like that. And at the end of this, what did you think about his singing? Because I'm a fan of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of your Bismarckies, your ODBs, and this is not quite as like bombastic and off kilter as that, but I honestly think the singing is relatively fine.
I fucking dig it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. But you know, like I'll take a person singing, you know, with their voice that doesn't have any vocal training, like this, 99 times out of 100 over like an audio tune, you know, pitch corrected.
Sure, yeah.
Singing.
If it's from the heart and the voice comes through, it's very genuine. It's always going to be like easier to appreciate than the very kind of sterile, you know, sing rapping that we're seeing all over the charts at the moment. Yeah, unless you're like Ice Cold Bishop or something, you know, in which case you're just freaking it differently. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
Singing on his fine.
Biz Markie, the greats like when I heard ODB go off on the Beatles' Love to Me, and, Quell, shout out to Galapagos 4 old shit, Walking the Plankton. I like when there's some singing on there because it makes me feel like, oh, I can join in on this. As a bad singer, I'm allowed to try to freak this one in the shower.
Yeah.
And, also, I'm feeling Negro. I grew up around a lot of Filipino aunties who would just fucking sing, so that's like half of my helix, you know what I mean? And it's a good song. Bop, there's like a short wind instrument kind of blast repeating sample, and these, like, I don't know, they sound almost kind of intrusive, and maybe Spade would say something about the mix, but I really like those triangle sounds that are coming through on it.
Yeah.
I think that the production is super dope, and Sandy is stacking his ass off, like rhyming his ass off in like kind of an urgent spree, and just dope lines. The Most High blessed me with particular truth. I get extracurricular loose. He's dope. I can't be certain every sermon meet the burden of proof. Yeah, and then it's like, it's a break of the constant thing, like the constant beat for this kind of like quick flourish of this really nice loop and opening before he goes back into it. It's good. It's fucking, it's great. And it's also like, there's a variety, for this being such a short album, there are a variety of approaches and sounds on this. Sure. There's a lot of like Therapy, which is probably one of my favorite songs on the album. It's this kind of dope psychedelic rock stab sample.
Yeah.
And the transition from those two songs is great. Homeboy Sandman comes in immediately and he's like, what does he say? Rap is such a weenie scene.
Like, what the fuck is weenie scene? Yeah. Made me want to summon the Candyman from Cabrini Green.
Yeah, word. Media put on everyone that flows wrong in the world. Go and put some clothes on, little girl. He's fucking great. Like, well, yeah.
And if they're in spirit and some of his other work comes across as like bitter dad, this comes across as like, New York. Dad's home. Like, it's like New York.
I like the New York honest asshole personality. Yeah. It's been one of my favorites since, my brother-in-law and all his homies were all East Coast cats, Newark, New Jersey. And they all had that kind of, and my sister's like 16 years older than me. So I was like a child when my brother-in-laws was around and shit like that. And I've loved that honest personality. And I get that type of shit from Homeboy Sandman quite a bit. And the way he constructs rhymes, like a lot of the times he uses like the same words multiple times, like a stack, like dot, dot, dot.
Yeah.
And he just makes the shit sound dope to me. He says, a lot of rhymers that never rhymed about the things that I be rhyming about. That's rhyme.
Yeah.
I got so good at shining, decided to go to shaman route. I'm the one you previously counted out. Busy taking action while you clown around asking what you crying about. He's just dope. And I love to share lyrics, but I'm not really good at getting them across as dope as the artist at any given point. But that's just like one of the ill shits that he does. Like a lot of rhymers that never rhymed about the things that I be rhyming about. He's ill, bro. Like, I fucking really enjoy it. Off Rip, another one of my favorites. Like some
favorite on the album. Yeah.
It's like a lovely. That's when it got to that one, I was like, oh shit, I'm really enjoying this album. This sounds like kind of like some Bob James, kind of Angela, Taxi.
Yeah.
It's like it reminded me like 70s New York idea I have or something. And yeah, Homeboy Sandman's dope on that. I just heard my hero say some nonsense. I deal with that quite often.
With that, yeah.
I deal with that
just
quite often.
Talking about MIA just now.
Yeah, we were, man, just fucking wilding out. That prison, that school to prison pipeline of alt-right fucking conspiracy theory. Shout out to MIA, I guess. Jesus fucking Christ. But Biology, that's another one of the tracks that that might be my favorite song on the album. You got lyrics on your shit?
Yeah, I got lyrics on my shit. Yeah.
Word? Here I am, fucking typing all my joints out, like repeating
on the Apple.
I don't think that Spotify was doing that, and I don't think it's on the Bandcamp either. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they're all here. I don't know if like a very dedicated Homeboy Sandman fan threw them up, or if
shout out to you. Or I love when an artist shares their lyrics. It kind of just make our job a little bit easier, and maybe that's why I like it. But Biology, man, his flow on that shit is really dope. It goes really well with this kind of summery soul loop, and there's no chorus on it, but he uses this kind of same refrain over and over again in different ways that is really catchy to me, and I love that track. If I could do it all again, I would. I rap good. I rap real good. Everyone who want to check under the hood. Hailing from asunder, I am quite misunderstood. And then, like, he just changed it up just enough, right? Like, no canceling in the castle where I cast real spells. I rap well. I rap real well. Yep. Then he's like, my lyrics come from spirit, so I always have friends. I rap bien. I rap muy bien. like, bro, he's just ill. Man, I can go over a lot of these. I think I will.
Yeah, go for it. Show off.
Fucking, I love that. Then we broke up. It's got this kind of hard break beat type of joint that when I was playing it, my wife, shout out to my B-girl wife and daughter, they were like, "Oh, word, what's going on here? Is it time to fucking break?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm just fucking making notes."
But yeah, given the subject matter, probably not one you want to play to the wife. But but also, like, holy shit, like, that song, kind of a gut punch. You know, for like the levity and the lightheartedness of it, he just picks so many. What the fuck is going on outside your apartment?
Oh, they're fucking. I live in an apartment, and the bottom floor is a grocery store that they're renovating. So it's been shut down. And what is that?
I don't know. That beeping,
like a beeping?
It might be on the beat, but
I don't know.
In any case,
I think it is.
Yeah, just a lot of like
the gut punch of
very relatable like little things. You know, you love little dogs, so I'd keep my eyes peeled everywhere we walked. If the owner let you say hello, you'd be overjoyed. Like, I do the exact same shit with my girlfriend. I don't give a fuck about small dogs. My girlfriend loves small dogs. Anytime I see a small dog in the street, I'm like, oh, hey, yo, let's go say hi. And like, that's like, it's like one of those little things that makes a relationship feel meaningful. And it's nice because although there is a tragedy and a sadness to it, and then we broke up, there's also like, you can tell that there's like a gratitude and kind of appreciation for those times. Sandy doesn't come across as bitter on here. He comes across as like, hey, we did a lot. We did more than a lot of people do in their relationships, and here is all the things I appreciate about it. Wish her the best, on to the next one.
Yeah, and he's so great at like detailing the little kind of like idiosyncratic things about his relationship with her. Like, you could tell that it was a real relationship, and it didn't like it ended, but it seems like he walked away from it feeling like, all right, shit's good. Yeah. And with a lot of my lady faces before I got married, it's like most of my relationships are all cool like that. Like me and my home, like we're still homies and shit. And it's dope, I never really farted around my ladies like that, like he be doing, but like they were doing. But it was good, I'm a fan of that. So Homeboy Sandman has actually a lot of tracks in his catalog about relationships and like trying to like get the girl and shit that are really dope. That's another one of them. And let's see, Nevermind 2. Social loner, flesh and bone paragon, ringing in the new year with the Twilight Zone marathon. Yeah, it's a good track. I got some more lines. Ever since I had a speaking spell, I had a feeling I was an eternal shrouded in the Puerto Rican shell. Yeah,
dope.
Yeah. My home is not a city, it's a state, because it's a state of grace. That's how come I stay in my creative space. When I started zooming, I was fuming. I was bound to make a few mistakes. You know what they say about assuming in the human race. He's fucking hard. On Loner, also another kind of like classic guitar solo sample, like with a drone, like, kind of drone out. The lyrics kind of passed me by a little bit, and I feel like Spade would be a little bit upset at that one. But I do like it. Content-wise, like, really gets into his, like, loner personality, how it causes him issues and how it ruined a relationship and his regrets and kind of struggles to change. And it's great. It's one of those creative writing class through-line joints where it's like, yeah, you get exactly what he's talking about. It's really good. Crazy is another good one. Kind of like a White Rabbit, psych rock, also jazzy vibe to that. The last verse is basically about like his problems buying food and going to like Trader Joe's and how they got a trash cereal selection and the capitalists are there. Just funny, idiosyncratic, like slice of life Homeboy Sandman shit. And I guess there's two more tracks, and I won't go too much into them. But Who Are You is hold on. There's like one more bar on that. I don't know. He says shit like, I move just like a Rubik's Cube. Race is fake, but I'm made up of mad races. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I be rocking too.
We can both relate to that one. Yeah.
That's how I be rocking too. Shout out. The last track, Who Are You? I love the swelling piano kind of crescendo loop that's just like building for Sandy to this kind of, it almost feels like a Freddie Mercury big mouth final track type of vibe. And there's some sing-song shit on there that people might not like if they're really serious about how singing's supposed to sound.
Ability,
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like if you like fucking, I don't know, who's good at singing, Mariah Carey or Adele or some shit, then this probably won't hit for you. But if somebody's screaming and singing, my confidence is rock diesel, I'm there for it. I really like this one, man. I was very happy to get to a Homeboy Sandman project that really brought me back to the reasons why I like Homeboy Sandman. I've been feeling like that relationship was kind of, space was built in between my enjoyment of his music and the music that he was making. But yeah, this is right back on fucking par for me. I put this in my top 5. I haven't thought about it much, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say easily it's got to be in there because I really enjoyed this one a lot, and it's got a lot of play for me in the last few weeks. What are your favorite tracks on this one?
Off the Rip, Then We Broke Up, Crazy.
I've got Biology, Therapy, Off the Rip, and Who Are You? We were requested to do our recommendations again. People were saying, like, yeah, you just got to be back on that. So I've got a few here. I recommend like that Bob James Touchdown album just because the jazzy vibe. I would say as far as Homeboy Sandman's catalog, go back and check out like Actual Factual. Pterodactyl is a favorite of mine. Check out The Roots, Eladelph Half-Life, specifically the song No Alibi. And also George Carlin, the stand-up special Jammin' from 1992.
Yeah, I see it.
So Homeboy Sandman kind of has that like I'm
observational like sharpness about him.
Yeah, he's like I know where we can build houses for the homeless. Golf courses, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Homeboy Sandman's on that, and just a kind of really smart, funny, witty dude. I think that I feel like I heard hella years ago that he was a lawyer. And, like he passed the bar exam and was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to write bars instead. And I think that's the type of intelligence, the intelligence, his smarts, his street smarts and worldview really come across dope in the music. So yeah, Homeboy Sandman, those are my recommendations.
I guess I would recommend this to people who like the very kind of relatable but lots of levity kind of hip hop that you would expect from an Open Mike Eagle or a Video Dave. We'll be talking about the new Open Mike Eagle very soon. And in a way, I can see kind of parallels between those two records. They're both quite funny, but also, the sharpness and the observational wittiness that comes across from both artists is really, really something great.
True that.
And something I think that our listeners will enjoy.
Well, it goes without saying, but I think, A$AP Rock fans probably already
that whole that whole spectrum from, rhyme sayers through Anticon through Stone's Throw are going to get something out of this because Homeboy Sandman has straddled all of those lines.
Yeah. Shout out Secret House Against the World. Check out our guy at Caltrops Press. You know the vibes. Link in the bio. We've got a Patreon. Shout out to Noah23. He left us a message on our review today. Also the Noname Book Club. I just got my Noname Book Club poster in the mail, straight from California. Shout out to Noname, Secret House Against. Like, subscribe.
All that good shit. You know how it is.
背負い落とし、浮き落とし、払い腰、跳ね腰、大外刈り、小外刈り、小外掛け、大外車、内股、内股すかし、きびす返し、巴投げ、俵返し、カニバサミ、山嵐、浮き技、小内刈り、大内刈り、肩車、横車、釣り込み腰、袖釣り込み腰、払い釣り込み足、ツバメ返し、抱き別れ、技はいろいろ、カードは一つ、セゾンカード。